Look up at the night sky for a moment and try to feel something strange. Not wonder, not fear, but distance. Because what you are seeing is not just light, it is history. Some of those stars may no longer exist. Some galaxies you see may already be slipping beyond a boundary we cannot cross, not with rockets, not with messages, not even with light itself. And the most unsettling part is this: the universe is not staying still while we watch it. It is quietly changing the rules of connection between everything that exists. There was a time when every galaxy could, in principle, see every other galaxy, a cosmic neighborhood where everything was reachable in theory. But something is happening right now, everywhere, all at once, and almost nobody feels it in daily life. Space itself is stretching, and it is doing so faster and faster. Distant galaxies are not just moving away, they are being carried away by the expansion of the universe until they will eventually disappear from our cosmic map forever. So the question is not just what the universe is, but what it is becoming. A place of connection or a place of isolation written into the laws of physics itself. And if this continues long enough, even intelligence in the far future may look up and see only one galaxy, believing it is everything there is. What kind of universe is that? And more importantly, what does it mean for us right now, while we still can see beyond our own cosmic doorstep? The idea that the universe is slowly locking us inside the Milky Way comes from a simple but deeply unsettling observation. Space is expanding, and not just expanding in a casual way, but accelerating in its expansion. This means that the farther away a galaxy is from us, the faster it appears to be moving away, not because it is traveling through space like a rocket, but because space itself is stretching between us and it. Over extremely long timescales, this stretching becomes so extreme that many galaxies will cross a boundary where their light will never reach us again. Once that happens, those galaxies effectively disappear from our observable universe, even though they still exist. This is the first step toward cosmic isolation, where the universe gradually becomes less connected and more like separated islands of matter drifting apart forever. This expansion is not slowing down. Instead, it is driven by something we call dark energy, a form of energy that we cannot directly see or measure in a traditional sense, but whose effects are unmistakable in the motion of galaxies. Dark energy acts like a property of space itself, pushing the fabric of the universe outward with increasing strength over time. The more space there is, the more dark energy seems to act, causing an accelerating expansion. This creates a feedback loop, where distant regions of the universe move away faster and faster, eventually surpassing the speed at which their light could ever reach us. As a result, the night sky we see today is not permanent. In the far future, many of the faint galaxies we now observe through telescopes will fade away, not because they died, but because their light simply can no longer bridge the expanding gap. As this process continues, the large-scale structure of the universe changes dramatically. Galaxies are not randomly scattered. They are grouped into clusters and superclusters, bound together by gravity. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is part of a local group that includes Andromeda and several smaller galaxies. Gravity holds these systems together even against the expansion of space. Over billions of years, the Milky Way and Andromeda are expected to collide and merge into a single, larger galaxy. This event will not be catastrophic in the sense of stars crashing into each other, because the distances between stars are so vast, but it will completely reshape our cosmic neighborhood. After this merger, the resulting galaxy, sometimes imagined as a massive elliptical structure, will contain most of the visible matter in our local region. Beyond this merged system, everything else will continue to drift away beyond the cosmic horizon, leaving this local cluster as an isolated structure in an expanding void. This leads to the concept of the cosmic horizon, which is a kind of boundary defined not by physical walls, but by the limits of information and light. Light travels at a finite speed, and the universe has a finite age. So there are regions so far away that their light has not had enough time to reach us yet. But with accelerating expansion, even light that is already traveling toward us can be stretched and slowed by expanding space until it never arrives. This creates a shrinking window of the observable universe over time. It is not that the universe is getting smaller, but that our ability to observe it is becoming more restricted. Eventually, distant galaxies will cross this horizon, and no signal, no matter how powerful, will ever cross back into our region. The universe beyond this horizon is still there, but it becomes causally disconnected, meaning it can no longer affect us in any way. If we project this far into the future, the consequences become even more dramatic for any form of intelligence that might exist then. Future civilizations, if they arise billions of years from now, may look into the night sky and see almost nothing beyond their own galaxy. All the distant galaxies we currently observe in thousands through telescopes would have vanished beyond their horizon. Without knowledge of external galaxies, these civilizations might incorrectly assume that their galaxy is the entire universe. The evidence for a Big Bang, cosmic expansion, and large-scale structure would be nearly impossible to detect without external references. Over time, the universe would appear static, eternal, and self-contained, even though it is actually evolving on scales far beyond their perception. Knowledge itself becomes limited not by intelligence, but by the structure of space-time and what information is allowed to travel across it. At the deepest level, this process can be thought of as the universe building a kind of cosmic prison, not in the sense of intentional confinement, but as a natural consequence of physical laws. There are no walls or barriers, only expansion and the limits imposed by the speed of light. Gravity gathers matter into local structures like galaxies, while expansion pulls everything else apart. Over time, this leads to a fragmentation of the universe into isolated regions, each one containing only its own gravitationally bound systems. Communication between these regions becomes impossible. Each island of galaxies becomes alone, drifting in an ever-expanding darkness where external contact is not just difficult, but fundamentally forbidden by the structure of space-time itself. Even the concept of a larger universe becomes inaccessible to observers trapped within these islands, as the evidence required to infer it disappears beyond observational limits. In this way, the universe is not ending, but becoming increasingly silent and separated, with each region slowly losing its connection to the rest of existence, drifting into a future where the night sky is no longer a window to the cosmos, but a closed dome of fading light that stretches outward until even the last photons from distant realms are stretched, weakened, and finally unable to continue their journey across the expanding emptiness in the end. The universe is not rushing towards silence in a dramatic explosion or a sudden collapse, but through something far more subtle and far more powerful, distance. Not distance created by travel, but distance created by space itself, expanding between everything that exists. Galaxies are not fleeing from us in the way objects run away. They are being carried apart by the very fabric of reality, stretching like an ever-growing ocean. And over unimaginable timescales, that stretching will rewrite what can be seen, what can be known, and what can ever be reached. What makes this idea so profound is not just the physics behind it, but the consequence of it for understanding itself. Today, we live in a rare moment in cosmic history when the universe is still open to observation. We can see billions of galaxies. We can trace the story of cosmic evolution, and we can ask questions that reach across space and time. But that window is not permanent. In the far future, most of the universe will slip beyond the cosmic horizon, and the night sky will slowly lose its depth until only the local galaxies remain, bound together in an isolated island surrounded by darkness. And yet, this is not a message of despair. It is a reminder of perspective. It means that knowledge is precious because it is time-sensitive on a cosmic scale. The ability to look outward and understand the universe is a privilege of this era, not a guaranteed feature of existence. Somewhere in the far future, civilizations may inherit a quieter sky and a narrower view, and they may never realize how vast reality once appeared to those who came before them. So the real meaning of this idea is simple. Awareness matters, curiosity matters, and the present moment in cosmic history matters more than we usually imagine. We are not just observers of the universe. We are participants in a brief window where the universe still speaks to us clearly. Good luck to you, and thank you for being part of this journey of thought and imagination.